Hey, what's up everyone? This is Minnesota Mike back with you for another video. This is another one in my vlog series that I do through the Memphis Songwriters Association in conjunction with the blog that I write for them, talking all about songwriting and what has worked for various artists over the course of a handful of years, whether those songs have been hits or not. So this latest kick that I'm on is called This Is Not My Beautiful House, or Is It? And these are all songs that deal with the positive and negative effects of going home. First, we looked at the negative effects, and we looked at the song Nothing But Flowers by Talking Heads. We looked at My Father's House by Bruce Springsteen. And then we also looked at the song Messing with the Settings by Craig Finn, one of my absolute favorites. Messing with the Stations, excuse me. Still one of my absolute favorites, even though I mess up the title every once in a while. So we looked at those, talking about the negative effects of going home. And then this week we started looking at the positive effects. So we looked at Homecoming by Josh Ritter. We looked at the song Turning Home, I should say, by David Nail. And then we are now going to look at the song One Man Wrecking Machine by Guster. So in the last of our songs about nostalgic trips home, this one bridges the gap between the two themes of things being just how you remember them and things being completely different, as the narrator in this song builds a time machine to change what didn't happen when he was there. The first verse says, I built a time machine, gonna see the homecoming queen, take her to the Christmas dance, maybe now I'll get in her pants. The second verse sees him with his high school friends, where they head up to Lookout Point and pass around a skinny joint. And then the chorus reveals his goal to pull apart and put it back together, as well as relive all my adolescent dreams. The third verse sees him at his parents' house, telling himself one day this will all make sense. This is an interesting thing because it kind of shows that the other things he says he wants to go back and change, he realizes in the last verse that he doesn't really need to change the past because his future will be good and will provide clarity. And yet, once he comes back to the present tense, he's feeling weird about everything because that's how it starts, is, back in the present tense, nothing is making sense. He might just be trying to convince himself when he says, one day you'll be a man, one day you'll understand. Melodically, the chords, the verses, I should say, in the song use the chords A, E, and D, played twice, followed by B minor and E, also played twice. The song is written in the key of A major, so this is a 1-5-4-2-5 progression. The chorus then uses A, E, D, and A, played 3 times, except the last time out, they throw in an extra E after the D. This is a 1-5-4-1 pattern, with the E being the 5 chords, so then that would add the 5 after that 1. Interestingly, the song uses acoustic, electric, and bass guitar, as well as drums and other percussion. I said interestingly, instrumentally is what I meant there. The simplicity of the arrangement matches the simplicity of the nostalgia, so a big booming chorus with a bunch of changes in and instrumentation really isn't necessary for the song. With that said, it's strange to me that the verse ends on the 1 chord, especially the last one, because there's a melodic closure without there necessarily being lyrical closure. This, of course, is because the pattern forms a perfect cadence. So structurally, the song uses a verse, chorus, solo, verse, chorus format. It's a cool choice to have 2 verses in a row because you have his mini goal of time traveling to see the homecoming queen, followed by kind of a while I'm here, and then you see his bigger goal of changing the past. So it makes sense that all of that would be hanging out with his friends. The third verse tells us that, it didn't quite give him what he wanted, but that's why he's back at his parents' house, and he's there to regroup, reestablish his goal. And then the last verse shows us that he didn't quite get there, by visiting the past. Yet singing the chorus again tells us that although he didn't get there, he's not giving up on his goal. So you can listen to One Man Wrecking Machine below. In a previous blog and vlog kick, I talked about Boston by Augustana, and may or may not have mentioned that that song was one that we would listen to when I worked for my cousin's cookie company back in high school. This is another song that was on repeat probably around the summer of 2007. It's a different way of telling the story, but it also gets at the same emotions as the other songs that we looked at. And like I said, because we listened to it back when I was in high school, it kind of takes me back to that place whenever I hear it. So I was happy to be able to talk about it, albeit not super eloquently. But I'm Minnesota Mike. Make sure that you check out this video. This song is a great one, and so make sure you listen to it. It's linked in the description of this video. Make sure that you check out all my other vlogs right here on YouTube, as well as all of my blogs, which can be found on the Memphis Songwriters Association website. Once again, I'm Minnesota Mike, and thank you so much for tuning in.